Up in front of it, you're probably all right.
If you're a high school grad.
They're looking at next July.
Next July.
They're thinking that they might turn this thing over in March or April from the contractor. Contractor's behind schedule, but somehow things, I think if Expo gets resolved next Tuesday with the PUC issue, then the other parts of the project will start moving forward.
Does that include Venice Robertson?
It doesn't include the last station, but that particular contractor's got a huge bonus, and they pretty much hit the ground running on this design build for the last station. So if anything, that station won't be that many months behind, because he's working to get $1 million bonus, so why not, you know?
Weren't they talking about opening Expo Phase 1 in phases at one point?
They were, but the latest discussion is next July, June or July. And the other part of it, the Venice Robertson, 6 months later. It's all in fluxes, you know, the one contractor's there to make money and build early. The other one is, you know, it's the same company that had a lot of problems with the Sprinter in San Diego. They're just not a good rail contractor, Flatiron. It's just one of those things where they don't do good. Balfour BD has done projects on budget, on time, and they got that incentive to finish that last station.
Plus they have an excellent
Something
name.
on Venice Robertson.
Right, Flatiron.
You went by there the other day when you took me home,
Yeah.
and I just took a look. They have, what do you call those big tube things you went by?
The rebar cages?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get to that, it's in the PowerPoint here, so
Okay.
moving through the things, so the transit project's got significant issues in phase 1, significant issues in phase 2, but they're doing their local jobs hiring. They've got major accomplishments. What time is it now, so we don't run out of time? 8:43, all right, we got about 4 minutes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, thanks for coming, Barry.
See you, Barry.
Thank you.
So moving, thank you very much, see you. Moving through on the Expo project, it's finally moving along. Next, in about 3 weeks from now, there's actually gonna be a grand opening of a groundbreaking of the Expo, I'm sorry, the Metro Gold Line Foothill extension.
What's the date on that?
It's somewhere in late June, you know, like publicity people think I'm gonna. All right, well, June 26th, so get out there on that date if you want to see them cut the ribbon. Then there's the Measure R implementation plan, and that's going to answer a few questions here. The Measure R's got this committee, and they talk about these different projects. They've got an independent tax oversight committee that's been formed, and they've chosen some judges to take a look at some of the projects on time, on budget. They've got a fiscal year proposed budget, how they're going to be using the money. Then we can see the budget keeps going on a few pages, and then you can see what the highway and rail projects are, the actual projects that they're looking at, and you can see the 405 project right there. John's gone, but there it is. Moving forward, there's the delivery. This is the important question everybody's asking. Project delivery in the works. You can see on these different projects what phase everything is in. For example, the San Fernando Valley 405 corridor is just it's in the long range plan, it's just being thought of. Nobody's done any work. On the other hand, you can see that the Metrolink capital improvement projects that John was talking about, they've been vetted. It's just a matter of funding them for construction. The environmental's already done. So those different projects are moving ahead. Different folks are in DC working on these things, so that's also important stuff. In addition to the project delivery, you can see the road projects also, and then the overall function on the projects. Then we're moving into the project management information systems.
Dave, before you,
Yeah, go ahead.
the Green Line extension of LAX, I thought that was part of the Crenshaw line now, like they.
Well, 1 mile is
Mhm.
the mile from Aviation and Imperial to Aviation and Century.
Mhm.
That's part of the Crenshaw line.
Mhm.
The piece that goes from Century and Aviation to the rental car lot is the piece that's still not, it's got an EIR that needs to be refreshed, and the EIR was last visited in 1995 or 96.
So this graph here, which part of that is the, like how come the Crenshaw line to LAX is much farther along than the Green to LAX?
Because they're actively working on the Crenshaw line component. The part that LAX has still been an orphan, but it's now been escalated in the funding in the 3010. If we're successful in going to DC and getting the 3010 elements advanced, and that project will be built by 2019.
So they couldn't just port some of that Crenshaw, those studies over
We've
to
asked them to, but it wasn't in the budget. Now all of a sudden, it's potentially in the budget.
Oh, okay.
So moving on to the next piece, which is the 710 tunnel. I don't know how many people are interested in tunnels, so it's a very controversial project. But on Thursday at the
No
board
shit.
meeting, pardon?
No shit.
Oh yeah, no shit. We have to take one. In addition to that, the tunnel project is being evaluated, and the piece is moving through. It's very controversial within the community. Some people want it, some people don't. But the question is, even with public-private financing, with a $12, $15 toll, people use it, can the project break even? Because it could be $2 or $3 or $6 billion to build this tunnel. So then there's issues about ventilation and other issues. But one group is gung-ho pushing it, and then one group has been fighting it for a long time. So much for the tunnel. The Crenshaw LAX corridor, Bradley's question. They've moved through on completed ground surveys, geotechnical testing, station design, working with the PUC, CPUC, and the LADOT regarding grade crossing treatments, environmental assessment. What's going on? They've looked for station sites, and they've gotten down to 4 possible sites, and there's a public hearing coming up this summer. They're looking at some more grade separation analysis and a maintenance facility analysis into the final EIS/EIR, and they're doing public outreach. And then the question about when some of this is coming, you can see the time frame schedule here in 2010, 11, and 12 on the Crenshaw line. Looks like it's going to hit construction there after the record of decision next year in 2011. Moving on to the next project is the evaluation of the rapid service. What happened is rapid was one size fits all. It didn't really matter what street it was. Rapid was thrown on many, many streets. Some streets, the characteristics, like a street like, is it Melrose or Beverly? Which street is it? 714?
That's Beverly.
Beverly. Beverly has an interesting characteristics. It's mostly older demographic riders, and the riders definitely only ride 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 blocks. What happened was when Metro put the rapid service on that particular line, they found out that it just didn't quite work with the riders. They took all the local service away, and then the people were waiting long periods of time because they didn't want to save time and drive a mile. They wanted to save time and go 2 stops,
Right.
2/10 of a mile. Well, what's happened is that because of the consent decree and the BRU, they did this one size fits all. Now they've got this new,
No.
what? No? All right, I won't reach out on this one. But as far as what happened is, the group over at Metro now is looking at the design of these programs and looking at, is it better to run more local